Hi, this is Krista at the Secret Yarnery. Welcome to our corner to corner finishing into a square tutorial. When one side of your corner to corner is the width of the square you want, it's time to decrease. We're going to decrease on each corner, so I'm just going to take two red stitch markers. You don't have to use stitch markers at all, but it might be easier in your head because the pattern's changing. If you are new to C2C or corner to corner, then this is what I do. I put a stitch marker on this side, and I'm going to put a stitch marker on this side. So I know when I get to my stitch marker, it means stop, no more increasing. So now we're going to be doing a decrease on when we get to every edge, we're going to be decreasing. So let me show you how to do that. So when you are ready to start making your square, turn your work like you usually do. And now instead of doing our chain 6 and building a block, we are going to be slip stitching up along these stitches. So slip stitch into the next stitch and into the next stitch and into the chain 3 space. Like that. Now we can just kind of rotate your work so you can see where you're going to be working. And now you just do the center along the row the same way. So we're going to do a chain 3 and 3 double crochets into the chain 3 space. And slip stitch to join, and do this all the way up the same as usual. Nothing is changing until we get to the end of the row. If you do not have a stitch marker, and now we're coming along this side anyway, we can move our stitch marker over onto this side like that. And if you don't have a stitch marker, just take a loop or a scrap of yarn and your crochet hook and just put it into the space, loop on your hook, bring it back, and slip stitch with both. And just leave that on loosely, but that's also a perfectly fine way of showing you that you have to pay attention, to do something different. So work all the way back, and I'll meet you over here. We still have to join our block when we get to the end, so slip stitch into the chain 3 space and turn your work. So now we're going to slip stitch into these stitches going along the side of this block. So slip stitch into the first, into the second, into the third, and into the chain 3 space. Now we can move our stitch marker over onto the side that we are decreasing on. If you need to, you don't have to use stitch markers if you don't space out and if you pay attention. But I tend to watch TV and things like that. So chain 3 to start your block, 3 double crochets into the same space, and slip stitch to join into the next mountain or the next staircase, and work your way all the way back. I will meet you when we get to this side. At the end, we are going to join up our last block. So slip stitch, turn your work, and now slip stitch all the way up to the chain 3 space, up to and into the chain 3 space. So that is your decrease on both sides, and that is going to give you a really nice square. So now you're going to do your chain 3, and you're going to start your block, your 3 double crochets into that space. And slip stitch into the next chain 3 spot. So now you can see our square is starting, and it's going to go faster and faster. We're going to finish up over here. So keep doing the same thing, just slip stitching up when you get, or turning your work and slip stitching up that block to do your decrease all the way up. And you'll see how quick it's going to go. I'll do one more decrease with you on this side, when I get over there. At the end of the row, slip stitch to your chain 3 space, turn your work, and slip stitch up along the side and into the chain 3 spot. So that is your decrease. You know how to do everything else. I will see you when we're finished this, when we're getting at the end. I'll see you at the last row of this square. And just a tip, if you're going to take a break, don't end right at the end of the row. You might forget what you're doing. I always join a block in the center and then just pop a stitch marker into that stitch, because then when you come back, you know that you're just going along your work and you'll know what to do. It'll all come back to you by the time you reach the edge. But sometimes if you end right on the edge, you can kind of be like, what am I supposed to do? So I just choose to take a break when I'm in the middle of a row, or at least have just started a row. So I hope that also helps you. Getting close to finishing. So slip stitch to join. As always, turn your work and slip stitch up and into the chain 3 spot. And then suddenly you'll be like, oh my gosh, only one block left. It's so quick. So do your chain 3 and build your block into this last chain 3 spot or space. 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitch to join. Nice little tight slip stitch, and chain 1 to knot your work or secure your work. Cut your yarn, pull your hook up and your yarn through, and snug that down to secure. And you've finished a square. So your ends you're going to have to sew in with your needle, but we could manage that. Finish with our stitch markers. Those can come out. And now you can decide what border you want to put on, or you want to leave it like this, or whatever you'd like to do. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial on how to finish your C2C into a square. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments box below, and I'd love to see yours. If you're on our Facebook group, I'd love to see your pictures over there. So all that information is in the description box below, and thank you so much for watching. Stay hooked.